Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on wherever the heck you are. And once again, as always, do remember, please, there's no greater source than Limud Torah. We should never stop for a second to remind ourselves. Always remind ourselves that amidst all the Limud Torah going on for this year and all this year, so many extra shurim that are gone all over the world, should be a schus for all the people that need a schusim, or as was pointed out, though the vernacular is schusim, and technically it's a schuya, if that's true. All the chaylim and all the captives and all the hostages and all the cholim, everybody and everywhere. And Achinu Kol Beis Yisrael, unfortunately, everywhere in the world, I think we seem to need extra schusim and schuyot in order to stay safe. Okay, let's get back to work. So as I said, there's only so much chizuk we can do, so I decided we're doing tefillah. This is number 3, right? We're looking for Segulah, Daven. We forgot, we're looking for Segulah, Daven. As we always do, let's just quickly sum it up and hit the next step. We started with, why should davening work? You're not nagging at Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're changing your balance sheet. I mean, that's the crux of how tefillah works. We will get to tefillah, tshuva, tzedakah. We'll get to other things. There are other things that could change your balance sheet, and therefore the Yitzchak Feigenbaum of today maybe is deserving of winning the lottery, whereas the Yitzchak Feigenbaum of yesterday was not. Right now we're focusing on tefillah. Why is tefillah do that? Because the crux of tefillah, Baruch Atah Hashem, you're the source, acknowledging that Kadosh Baruch was the source of everything, notwithstanding the fact that we have to do our shtadlis, right? You can't walk into traffic at 5 o'clock in the afternoon blindfolded and assume a Kadosh Baruch Hu could do a miracle just because he could. Not allowed to do that. You don't leave your bulletproof vest in the back seat. You know what I mean? You put it on, and if you have money, you buy them one and go to the doctor, right? If you're not feeling well. But we have to recognize the fact that does it stados. Kadosh Baruch Hu is one that does it all by recognizing that. Hashem. Only if Hashem heals us will we be healed. That changes the balance of our good deeds and bad deeds, that changes the kedusha, and we're new people, and we're judged every day, and maybe today we'll be judged differently. How does it help for the people who are not davening, for the guy that's in the coma? Because he gets you to do a mitzvah. Such an important concept, because so many of the times we're davening for people who are not davening for themselves. They don't know that it's a good idea, unfortunately, they're educated, or they don't have the physical wherewithal. They're in a coma, right? The whole point is, and that's how it all works, all mitzvahs that we do a matzah lefi, we do a tzedakah drive, we do a bracha party, we do a challah bake, we do whatever we do. If we're doing it as we wouldn't have done it had Uncle Charlie wouldn't have been in a coma, we wouldn't have done it if there wouldn't be hostages in Gaza. Would you have done it? No, I never do. Why are you doing it now? Hostages in Gaza. So they got us to do a mitzvah. They didn't talk us into it. They didn't convince us into it, but not for them. They wouldn't be doing it, would you? They get schar for that. That changes their balance. And therefore, when they're being judged every day, they're getting a newer judgment and a different judgment because their balance of mitzvot avera has changed because of look at all the mitzvot they got us to do. How? By the sitting there in a tunnel in Gaza. Right? That's how it works. Number 3 was it's sometimes through our lifetimes, it seems that a Kadosh Baruch Hu just never seems to help. So it could be your davening is not good enough. It could be you're just not worthy, but it could be, as we said, a hugely important concept. I want to repeat it again. Mazal Elyon, Mazal Tachton. It's from Dessler, based on P. Kabbalah on the Zohar. I got more emails and responses about this concept than any share I think I've given in years, right? And it is a hugely important concept. It does make a very big difference to your life, right? It's from Dessler, it's not me. And you see he's quoting the Zohar, not even him, right? Mazel Elyo, Mazel Tachto. When the Gemara gives you quotes that says it's all your mazel, tefillah doesn't help. Tefillah will not change anything. Good deeds won't change anything, right? The Gemara gives quotes, right? It's all mazel, mazel mashir, mazel machkim, bani chayim mezone, how many children you'll have, the food, how long you'll live is dependent on your mazel, not good deeds. Not good deeds. That's referring to a mazel Elyo. And all the Gemaras that say you can always daven, it can always change, always daven, that's Mazel Tachton. As we said, Mazel Elyon, your overarching job, it was to create, your neshama was sent down to earth to have to struggle and deal with things. And by making the right decision, you are increasing Kedusha and bringing Mashiach closer. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu divided up those struggles fairly, even though it may not look fair, but he did. And if that's the struggle you were given, it makes no difference what. At age 62, when you're 62 and 3 months and 4 days and 2 seconds, X is going to happen. Win the lottery. God forbid get hit by a truck. That your neshama was put here to struggle with that. It's irrelevant of what status you're at that point in your life. It was preset, and it's nothing. And you're going to be sick for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and there's nothing you can do about that. Because that's your job. Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas, Kadosh Baruch Hu said, I would have to destroy the world and recreate it in order that you should not be poor. I have to start creation all over again. That's the system, and in that system, this is you. And there's nothing we can do about that. Some of the things that go on in our life are Kadosh Baruch Hu starts you off, and Taka says, let's see how it goes. We'll start you off with A, B, C. You're deserving. You're worthy. We can make things easier for you. You're not. You're being a jerk. So then why should I make things easier for you? Being an idiot. Forget it. Right? And the trick is we never know. We never know. We never know. We never know. Right? We never know if what we're davening for is some preset. As an example of my daughter. Right? Somebody got to be in a wheelchair. If nobody was in wheelchairs, we wouldn't have opportunities to push wheelchairs, bigger holding. We need sick people. Otherwise, we can't do bigger holding. Somebody got to be sick. Right? I'm the kid in the wheelchair. Somebody got to be the kid in the wheelchair. I'm the kid in the wheelchair. Right? Is that a mazel elyon and set forever, set in stone? Is that a mazel tachton? We're going to start. Let's see how she does. If she does really good, we can switch it to something funner. We never, roll. If you're a Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas, then Kadosh Baruch Hu will tell you, right? Barring if you're a Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas, and I'm sure the great Kabbalists would, right? It certainly could. It could change. So yeah, and you never know. So what do? You daven, right? You daven, and if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, so the worst thing that'll happen is you get Mario Olam Haba because you did all those mitzvahs of davening, or bracha parties, or challah bakes, or matzah lafis. Super duper. Now I want to talk about another thing, and this be almost the last on this topic of davening. We're putting it all together. Then we're going to move on to why is tzedakah make such a difference? Why is that such a big deal? Are you buying off God? What is this checkbook Judaism? And that is the issue of davening in Hebrew. I don't know all the people on this call, and I don't know some other people who so many people click in and pick it up later. So I don't know who you are, and I don't know what your Hebrew language level is. But it's a very common question I get. So is it better to say the Hebrew, but I don't know what I'm saying, or is it better to read it in English, but then I miss out the Hebrew? What's the scoop there? Like, how does that work? And that's talking very important. So let's start with the Yesod. The language is called Lashon HaKodesh. That's not like by accident, right? It's Lashon HaKodesh. Because Baruch Hu created the world with this language, right? You midaber, you speak, you create Dvarim. It's not by coincidence that the word davar, dibur, is talk. Words, davar, dibur, are things. Famous issue when you learn Chumash, after these words or after these things. Because, as the pasuk says, as the Kabbalists all point to, B'dvar Hashem shamayim na'asu. B'dvar Hashem shamayim na'asu. Because Baruch Hu created the world with words, with the Hebrew letters. Right? Call. We'll Yud and Hey. We're not going into the Kabbalistic issues of which letters do what. There's books on that if it strikes your boat. But it's absolutely true. There is power to Lashon HaKodesh. You say this animal is a korban in the good old days. Well, even if you do it today, but certainly in the good old days, the animal was a korban. It created a spiritual reality. You just said the words, Harei Zeh Korban, on little Betsy the cow over here. And this Betsy the cow, it changes a million things. Somebody comes over and messes it up. You're messing up with a korban. You can get yourself into wacko big trouble by messing around with that cow. Why is this cow different than any other cow? Because you said words. And it has dramatic halachic ramifications, forgetting the spiritual ramifications of this cow is now kadosh, which we can't necessarily see or taste or smell. The greats could, right? But we can't. But words make a difference. Even our words. Forget Kadosh Baruch Hu's words. That's Kadosh Baruch Hu's words. But our words, the English, Hebrew, no, it's not true. Words are powerful, right? And Lashon HaKodesh is Lashon HaKodesh. It connects the material and the spiritual. Gadol, big. A big, huge, tall size skyscraper is gadol. a 6'4", 250-pound football player who can't read English is gadol. Moshe Feinstein, who was 5'2", was a gadol. Coincidence? No. There's a connection between the spiritual and the physical. You walk up a flight of stairs, you're OUisrael. You get called up to the Torah, you're OUisrael. You move to Eretz Yisrael, you're OUisrael. What does walking up a flight of stairs have to do with moving to Eretz Yisrael? What? Aliyah, OUisrael. There's a spiritual aliyah, there's a physical aliyah. You climb up a mountain, you're OUisrael. You move to Eretz Yisrael, even if you're on a mountaintop and come down to Eretz Yisrael, but you're called OUisrael. There's a very intense connection based on the power of Lashon HaKodesh. Words mean something. Words create. And therefore, when Chazal set up the language of our tefillos, they were very careful in the words they used. And there's a dramatic power in the words. So just to say, if you don't understand what you're saying, just forget it. To say it in English, because it's all the same, because you're talking to God, you got to talk to God. So just have a conversation with God. There's all sorts of books about tefillah, they all talk about it. And I say that. I'm the guy that wrote the English translation to a sitter. You know what I mean? I should be plugging Daven in English, so you'll buy my sitter. Which is true, you should. But there's a power in davening in Hebrew. You can't say there's not. So I want to differentiate a little bit so we get it clear, because we're davening so much today, and we're saying Tehillim. Last night in Israel here in Sunday in Rechevet, they had a big Tehillim gathering, 10 o'clock at night. The shul was packed, and we're saying Tehillim. And I got to tell you, I'm saying Tehillim. So the famous ones are the famous ones, but the not so much famous ones, which only become famous now, unfortunately, are not so famous. And as I'm reading them, I'm saying, I really should do a Feigenbaum Tehillim, because I myself don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what it's referring to. I don't know what it's talking about. Like, I get the gist of the chapter, and some psukim resonate, but some psukim are like, what the heck was that? Like, I don't know. That was very poetic, and it sounded really good, and everyone's saying with great intensity, but I'll bet you $100 to one that there's only 4 people in the room that know what it meant. So what's the scoop? So listen carefully, my friends. Davening is avodah shebelev. General standard, 3 times a day, shachris, mincha, ma'ariv. We will not get into the halachic issues. Women are yes chayiv, women are not chayiv, rabbanan, d'oraisa. Normal, regular, shachris, mincha, ma'ariv. That's avodah shebelev. There, when you're balancing, should I say the holy words that Chazal imbued with great power? Or should I just talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in normal English, based and just paraphrase in English the theme they were trying to say here? There, by and large, it's a conversation with Hashem. You're discussing with Hashem. What we say, you're raising your spiritual level by acknowledging the fact that the good Lord is in charge. If you don't know what the words Baruch Atah Hashem means, then you're not acknowledging the fact that God is the source of everything, and that's the whole point of the davening. The whole point of the davening is that Baruch Hu is the source of everything. So if he's the source of everything, if you don't say that, if you're not saying it, you're not saying it. So you got to say it. If you don't know what that means, you don't know what that means. The whole point is saying, you are in charge of how knowledge. If I want to understand something, it ain't going to happen if you don't want me to. But if you do want me to, then I will. So please, there's so many things I need to understand. I want to understand. I'm not trying to not understand. I just don't get it because I'm a little thick and my education ain't so great. But if you could help me out, I would be thrilled, because I do want to understand Yiddishkeit. I don't want to just walk around saying, this is stupid, but I'll do it because I don't want to go to hell. I want to understand it. So you got to ask God, please help me understand it. And if you don't know that that's what the bracha tachanel das says, if you just mumbled it as holy words, you didn't put in that request. And a country doesn't know if you really care or not, if you understand. Maybe you don't care. Maybe once you find out what it is, you'll say, I'm going to skip the bracha. I don't need to understand. I don't want to understand. It's too complicated. Forget it. God, don't explain anything to me. But I don't know. That if that's important to you, then you need to say it. That's Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv, avodah shebelev. Then there's another kind of davening. There's the davening of Eish Tzara, which I'm sure has everybody heard 1,000 times, right? That everybody holds. That's a d'oraisa, and for women too. Eish Tzara, there's an Eish Tzara that's davening to a Kadosh Baruch. There also, here it changes slightly. Meaning, If you have no clue of what you're saying, it's a little tricky. If you have a basic concept of what you're saying, which is, I don't know exactly what all the words mean. I don't know exactly what I'm saying. But of course, we're in big trouble and we need help and it ain't going to happen without you. If you understand that that's why you're standing in shul for 45 minutes saying a lot of Hebrew words, because we're in trouble and we need help. We're doing our best. We're buying a bulletproof vest. But without your help, they don't do any good, as we all know. If you understand that concept, then you're davening based. Well, so what's better though? So should I say the words? Should I say the English? So I really understand precisely every sentence that I'm saying? Or I know why I'm doing this. What am I saying these extra chapters for? It's A, so because God helped. So I don't know exactly what each word means what, but the overall concept is that's what we're trying to say. Right? That's a tricky question. And that takes us to number 3. And that'll help with this. There's a whole nother different ballgame. And that's called Tehillim. Saying Tehillim is a completely different ballgame. I'm not talking about davening. Yes, a lot of davening happens to be Tehillim. That's davening. That we discussed davening. So saying Tehillim to say Tehillim. In Tehillim, David HaMelech put in a special request that his Tehillim should be accepted by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if his children who are saying it don't appreciate exactly what you're saying. Tehillim is Tehillim, right? A lot of people say, oh, you see these ladies on the bus and saying the Tehillim, they're mumbling Tehillim, they don't know what they're saying. And you see, especially today, all sorts of non-religious people, you see stories all over the place. People are saying Tehillim, they don't know what they mean. Even Israelis who know Hebrew, you ask them, oh, I know Baruch, but Tehillim, I say my Tehillim, people say Tehillim. They're not wrong. Don't make fun of them. They're right. Tehillim is Tehillim is Tehillim. David HaMelech, Naim Zimirot Israel, who had that unique, funny enough, who wrote Tehillim? The guy who spent half his time killing people, right? And going to war, because Baruch Hu wouldn't let him build the base of Mikdash. Too much blood on his hands, and he's Naim Zimirot Israel, the poet, the singer, right? That has a special power. And therefore, if you're saying Tehillim, because I'm saying Tehillim, I took it upon myself to say 3 program of Tehillim every extra day for the situation. I took it upon myself. Stop. I say Tehillim. I finish Tehillim once a month. I finish Tehillim once a year. It's divided up in so many multiple ways. I'm saying Tehillim, I don't know, 40 times a day for a shidduch. That's a whole separate issue, right? If you're interested about all that, go to my website. There's the shir for singles. I watch this video 40 times a day for 40 days, which talks about schools for CHIZUK, but there is an Indian of 40. If it's Tehillim, then say the Tehillim. It would be great if you could slowly but surely learn it. It would be great if you have an English on the side. I mean, if you have enough time, you could sort of mix and match, obviously, there's no mitzvah to understand it, for God's sakes, right? But there's no time. Right, the famous one. So sit down one evening and figure out, it's your SIA night. It's a short chapter. Everyone's saying it every day. 1 or 2 you can get, right? But push comes to shove, say the Tehillim. You're saying an X number of Tehillim, say the Tehillim. There's an evening and people are saying Tehillim, and they're saying all sorts of chapters you don't understand. Just say it with everybody in Tehillim. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm saying, but all I know is David HaMelech said, you answered Tehillim. He won his wars. We need to win our wars. He said Tehillim. I'm saying Tehillim. Help us out. And then you're good. Unlike Shachris Mincha Meir davening, when you're making requests to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you got to know what you're asking for, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, are you sincere? Do you really care about this? Do you really want this? Do you really think I'm the one who gives it to you? Are you saying just don't get in my way, God, because I want this. I'm okay, just please don't get in my way. You got to be clear in what you're saying, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu understands there's sincerity. That's the breakdown of the division. Gewaltig. As we've been doing, as our minhag has become, not only do we like to talk about davening, but we're going through davening slowly but surely. And I picked Birchos HaShachar. Watch this, folks. Okay? So we did Asher Nasa Nasefi Bina, we did Shloas Hani Goin, Shloas Hani Oven, let's do that. The power, I have such a hard time with that word. The power of having free will, the ability to make choices, notwithstanding the fact that If we wouldn't have so much free will, we wouldn't mess our lives up so much. Yeah, but you would never grow without it. Now we're up to the famous Shalosani Isha, Shasani Kirtso No, from my sitter, right? And watch what we're going to do. So men say, you are the source of everything. And I want to thank you. As we said, these 15 brachos are a thank you. Even though it doesn't say the word thank you, but we know you started off thank you. 15 thank yous. Thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you that you did not create me a woman. That's what men said. Because of that, I have so many extra mitzvot. True. I'm happy to have all those extra mitzvot. Women, thank you. Shasani kirtso no, that you created me according to your will. Right? And thus I have a unique and crucial role to play, even though at times it seems unclear. That was my addition for people that are saying it, because that's what many women feel. Of course, the FAQ on the side of the sitter here is this is not simply a FAQ, it's the FAQ. And of course, here's the problem, right? Right? Were men not created according to your will, right? You got to go both ways. Thank you, Hashem, Shalosani Isha. So why can't we say Shasani Kirtsa? We weren't created according to Hashem's will? No, we were. Only they were created according to Hashem's will. We were not. So we did, right? Then we're also created according to Hashem's will, right? And what do you mean Shasani Kirtsa? No, right? So why are they saying Shalosani Isha, right? The crux of it is based on a difference in mission. The crux of it is based on difference of reality. The crux is based on the totality of Klal Yisrael, Yaakov Avinu being Tiferes, multicolored, right? The power of Tiferes is that it's a beauty is not one color. One color is pretty, but beauty is taking many colors and putting them together. Kanim Levim Yisraelim, 12 Shvatim, men and women, husband and wife, right? There's multicolors, each one's all different colors. The mix and match is what makes it beautiful. The answer to this question was going to take a little more time. So by the power invested in me, I'm not going to now. You know what? Should we do it? Yeah, why not? We've been 24 minutes. We'll do it. We'll try and do it quickly. So we can start something else next week. Very simply put, let me get everybody on the screen so I can see everybody. There's a famous word. And we'll do this quickly. Maybe next week we'll add on. If you're a little confused, email me, Rabbi Y Feigenbaum at Gmail, by the way. If people have asked, Rabbi Y, don't forget the Y, because there's a lot of Feigenbaums around who are rabbis, right? Rabbi Y Feigenbaum at Gmail. You can email me. Very simply put, Al Pi Kabbalah, we know the women are compared to the moon, Levana, and men are compared to the sun, the Chama, right? Levana is from Lev, heart, emotions. Men are Chama, Moach. It doesn't mean that men are heartless and women are brainless, right? But what it does mean is each one connects to Yiddishkeit in a very different way, and therefore adds to the system as a whole in a very different way. This is a generality. There's always exceptions to every single solitary rule, and exceptions have to be dealt with. But we need a general concept which creates the structure of the communities of Avodas Hashem, and therefore that filters down into what everybody does. Are there people who will always be an anomaly to the overall structure? Yes, there's Kohanim who like maybe bad choice and God made him a Kohen. This alien, that guy should have been a Kohen. Right? Absolutely, for sure. Yes, and I'll put it up in the chat, my email address in a second before I end. Okay, good idea. The line I always use is, right, when I'm talking to teenagers, I said, do you ever see this following conversation going home between your parents, right? The husband turns to the wife and says, "Dear, are you upset with me?" Well, I didn't say anything. Say something. And all the kids laugh because they've all heard that before. But it is true. Men and women work on different styles of communication, right? Men are focused on things and topics and words, right? When a wife has a problem, right, the husband says, "Here's the solution," and she wanted to talk for 20 minutes just to discuss it, and he wants to solve it, right? Which is all good. We need people to discuss and understand and feel and empathize. And we need people to get out there and do something, right? We need a lot of different things. Truth be told, the mitzvahs can get in the way of your avodas Hashem. Let's be honest. You can get focused on the external. You just need your checkbox. I put on my tefillin. I wore my talis. I shook the lulav. I'm good. Next. Go ahead. I did it. That's in my checkbox. I got 613 checkboxes. I just check them off as I do them, and I'm good. You're not connecting to Kodesh Baruch Hu. You're not connecting to Ruchnias, but you did it. You did it. You did it. It's a great problem when you are so hung up on getting the mitzvahs and mitzvahs done right that you're so busy doing them. What did Reverend Feldman, the Shlita, say in the Torah Masorah Convention? We're raising a generation of young people. They're very observant. They've never been so observant in their whole life, but they're not religious, right? We've eradicated bugs and filled them more square than they've ever been, but no one's creating a relationship with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's a problem. On the other hand, if there's no structure, everybody just connects to Kodesh Baruch Hu and whatever they want, and just attunes to the Ruchnias, that's beautiful and that's enlightening and that's inspiring, but you can just spiral right out of shape and completely forget about it. It's a tricky balance, right? A very tricky balance. Each one has their pluses and each one has their minuses. By and large, and it's a by and large, and I've taught men and women for years. I've taught more to men and women. They understand things differently. There's a great article. They took two groups of a group of men, a group of women who were equally good in math and language skills, and they gave them the same identical test, but they had their brains wired. And they noticed everybody got the exact same grade, but the men used different parts of the brain to come to the same answer as the women did. They think differently. We see things, they smell things differently. By and large, women are more intuitively kadosh. They can emulate a Kodesh Baruch Hu. They give birth to life. What greater closeness to a Kodesh Baruch Hu do be than that possibility? Whether it happens to happen or doesn't happen to happen, but the concept is there in the genre of women, right? And therefore they're blessed with a more intuitive sense. There's the lave, the levana, they intuitively smell and sense Kedusha. And therefore, that's really what a Kodesh Baruch Hu would have wanted. Gan Eden, one mitzvah, and that was it. That would have been great if we wouldn't have messed it up. That would have been nice. That would have created real ruchnias instead of getting bogged down in details. So you're a robot doing details, you're orthoprax, but you're not connecting to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's really Kurtsono, right? But it's very difficult because if you don't have a checkbox and you don't have a structure, you can get so busy with things that you forget to connect. It's great to have things that sort of force you and lock you on into something practical. And that's what men have, because without it, they would do nothing, because they wouldn't intuitively connect the Kedusha. They need stuff. The stuff can become external, but at least it forces them to connect. The women don't have to worry about becoming superficial external, but they got to remember to pay attention and focus on the Kedusha that's there. Each has their struggles. So, Asani Kurtzano, because really we wish that's the way it would be. Shelo Asani Isha, because truth be told, it's easier to serve Hashem when you have a really practical checkbox list to do. So at least it starts you with a structure, with great risk of being external, but it starts you with a structure. Women say, Shasana Kurtzana, that's really the way you wanted it to be. We just have to struggle to do that because there's reasons why Kodesh Baruch Hu had to throw a whole bunch of mitzvahs in, because it is a tricky missile to connect with Baruch Hu intuitively and internally. That's the basic essence. We've run way over time. I asked you, Mechila, that's inappropriate. All right. But we will go over it a little bit more if you have issues with it, but that's the basic idea. Next week in Mir Hashem, we will pick this up more, and we're going to start doing with like tzedakah. Why is tzedakah such a big deal in a sorry, you buying off a Kodesh Baruch Hu, and we will continue in Mir Hashem with the Birchas HaShachar. A huge yasher koach. Everyone should only have the suros tovos.